Great. So in this next problem, we're asked, hey, let's use the diagram to give a possible name to each figure. So in this problem, I want to look at a few different things. We're going to look at something known as line segments. We're going to look at lines. And we're also going to look at rays. And let's go ahead and locate 3 different line segments here. So I want to find 3 line segments. And a line segment, basically when we see this in the real world, you may be at your house at point A, and you're going to travel along a path until you get to a second point, point B. So in the real world, you might be at your house, and you travel a path down a line segment to an ending point, which is at your friend's house. So line segments always have a starting and a stopping point. So our starting point here is A, and the stopping point is B, and we'll represent that with a line on top. Notice that it doesn't have arrows above, and this is telling us there are stopping points or end points. So line segment AB can be represented with 2 points and a line above it, and I could also rewrite this as line segment BA with the line segment bar above it, just saying, hey, you know what? These are the same line segments. They're taking up the same space or same path in the figure. Let's go ahead and look at a second one. So a second line segment on this path would be, hey, you know what? Maybe you're at a friend's house and you're going to go and travel to another friend's house or go to the store and pick up some soda or ice cream or something and play some video games when you get back to your house. Anyway, you have point B and point C. These are your end points, your starting and stopping points. And I would write that as line segment BC or line segment CB. Don't forget to put the bars above your capital letters here. Okay, and our last line segment, well, let's take a look. We've already done BC. We've done AB. But yeah, you know what? Your house, maybe you are at your house, is the starting point, and the stopping point is the convenience store or grocery store here. So you also have line segment A, which travels all the way down to the end point C. So we'll write capital A, C with a line segment bar above it, or the reverse, C, A. So now I have 3 line segments represented here. Let's go ahead and look at lines. We're going to find some lines here, and I want to find 3 ways to represent lines. Now remember, lines are represented with a line with arrows moving in both directions. It's telling you that the line is going on in both directions forever. So I see that this line happens to pass through point A, and it passes through point B, and it continues forever in both directions. So I could say, hey, line AB, or the opposite, line BA is telling me the same thing here. And let's go ahead and fix that bar real quick above. So line BA. Another way to represent this would be the line that passes through point B and point C. So put a B and a C here. Put the line, that bar above, or the reverse, which would be CB. And finally, that third one that we're going to look at is the line that passes through point A in that direction, and it passes through point C, continues forever in the opposite direction. So line AC or line CA. And now I have 3 lines represented. Okay, and the cool thing here is you get to choose. You do not have to write it as line AB and line BA. You get to decide whether you like to write it as line AB or if you want to represent it as line BA. Now let's go ahead and represent 6 rays. That's what we're going to find, 6 rays. And this is where things get a little more complicated for just a second. Rays always have a starting point. So whatever point you're starting at is how you'll represent your ray. It always has to lead with your starting point. So if I'm starting at point A and I'm going to pass through point B, Rays have one starting point and they continue through a second point forever. So or until they run into something. So basically we have ray A, B here. B would be my second point. I'll highlight that. And you have to represent that with, it looks like a line segment bar, but rather than having two arrows on both sides, you only have an arrow on one side, and it's pointing in the direction that the ray is traveling. So you start at point A, you pass through point B. You might start at point A and pass through point C, so that's a second way to represent a ray. Now it looks like we might be running out of ways to express this information, but there is also BC here which we could use. But we can go in the opposite direction. So you don't necessarily have to move from left to right. My starting point could be point B, but this time I'm going to pass through point A. So my next ray would be, I'm just going to write below here, ray starting at B, passing through point A. And that's my starting point at B, passes through point A, continues forever. I could start at point C and pass through point A and continue forever. Or point B and pass through point A and continue forever until I run into something. Point B through A, or ray B, A in this case. Cool stuff. So this is 6 ways to represent rays. Ray AB, ray AC, ray BC, ray BA, ray CA, and ray BA. Cool stuff, guys.